Hello everyone, Anderson here. While I have been active on social media, I haven't had as much time to put out video content due to being preoccupied with my master's program this past year. Well, I wanted to let you know that's going to change in the coming months as I plan on putting out more video content for all of you. We're going to kick that off today with an interview that I conducted with my friend Patrick Michael Strange in the summer of 2021. In the interview, Patrick discusses his life as an actor and how he transitioned into being a content creator. He also discusses some aspects of his personal life as well that I think you'll enjoy. Here's my interview with Patrick Michael Strange. Hello, friends. It's your boy, Anderson Marchack. I'm here with another interview, and it is my pleasure to introduce a friend of mine that I met through the convention scene. He's doing a lot of things now, and I thought we should get things going so he can let you know what he's doing. Please welcome Patrick Michael Strange, aka Kuya P.
Hey, Anderson, thank you so much. This is truly a delight, a pleasure.
Oh, yeah.
And I hope all is well with you. As I said earlier, we haven't connected since the world changed up.
That's right. Up. Yeah, the situation.
So, I'm happy to see you and shining and being the bright light that you are, man.
Oh, thank you.
I love it. You love to see it, because we need more of that.
I appreciate that. Well, thank you, Patrick. Man, there's so much I want to ask you because you do so many things, and I love that. I grew up as an artist myself, and we were always taught, that old adage, "Jack of all trades, master of none." It's like, no, Jack of all trades, master of all.
Yeah, hell yeah. You follow the flow of what your art is just creating, and so you just follow wherever the journey takes you, and you just create.
Absolutely.
And enjoy the ride, and hopefully. With your art, I think you and I are of the same cloth where we want our art to inspire and to give back and educate and all of that. And so I kind of follow that path. And if it takes me this way or that way, I'm going,
I like it. Well, Patrick, we're going to give you a chance to talk about that. You have had experience as an actor, a writer, a producer. And before we get to what you're doing now, as far as hosting goes, could you fill us in on that journey as far as how that's treated you and how that kind of led into what you're doing now?
Definitely. For the acting aspect of things, the bug hit me, I want to say back in 93, 94.
Mm-hmm.
I'm an old head. The melanin keeps me young,
Yeah. Asian don't raisin, baby.
Asian don't raisin. There you go. Hey, I love it. So I'm an old head, and way back in the 90s, I got into acting. I was in drama in high school, was a big avid film head. Whenever movies would come out, I was always in the theaters and just kind of, teaching myself about the craft of acting. And I honestly feel it's a craft, and I respect it to that respect. So I took drama because I wanted to really learn how things move behind and in front of the camera to get that better understanding, because that's what I wanted to do with my life, essentially, in a way, at that time. So funny story with how the acting bug hit was I was the week before these so I have to kind of sidebar. I was in choir. I was in a church choir. I was in my school choir, and I was pushed by some of the ladies in my choir class to perform in the Mr. Goose Creek High School pageant. And they're like, "Man, you have a talent. You can sing. You get good grades. You're all that. Why don't you compete for the high school, Mr. Goose Creek High School?" And I was the only junior. I was only a junior. I was like, it's supposed to be only seniors, but they were like, "We'll make an exception. We'll let a junior compete." I was like, wow, okay. To be the first junior to compete in the high school pageant, let me do it. And I was getting the push from all my lady friends in the choir team. And so they're like, all right, let's do it. And I came up with a song I chose to sing, because at that time I loved to sing. I used to love to dance. Shout out to all my fellow Filipinos out there. That's what we love to do. We love to sing and dance. We love to entertain, and hence the acting and everything like that. So it all just kind of goes together.
All right.
at the time, I think Aladdin's A Whole New World was like the hidden track, one of the best songs to me from that came out of Aladdin. So they're like, why don't you sing A Whole New World? And one of my classmates said she'd be down to play the piano for that. So that became my song portion for my talent portion of the high school pageant. Did that, performed, and I took third place. So I didn't win, but I did take third with like out of 15 contestants. To be third and be a junior with all these seniors was amazeballs.
Definitely.
And so I didn't know that it was recorded. And so that tape was floating around at the high school. And so fast forward to like a week or two after, the casting agency that was casting for Ace Ventura 2 When Nature Calls were looking for monks. Mm-hmm. And so they were going out to, all the various, I guess, drama schools and high schools looking for talent. They're looking for a bunch of Asians. And so apparently they came to my school. My drama teacher showed them this clip of me performing A Whole New World. They gave me a call, reached out, and they're like, would you be interested in being Ace Ventura 2? I was like, yeah, of course. But then when they said you'd have to shave your head and would you be willing to do that? I was like, I don't know, because I don't know about you and the Asian community at that time. And, it was all about, it was the 80s, it was the 90s, the high hair, the hairspray, with especially the females had that big poof. And there's young Asian male, it was all about the hair too. I was like, I don't know if I look good bald. And I'm like, yeah, I don't know. Right. So that was the conflicting thing. And they're like, well, we'll pay you $75 to shave your head. You'll also get paid, I think it was $15 an hour. And it's like a 14-hour workday, three days on set. There's catering, all that. And then plus, if you know other Filipinos, we'll get your friends, because we're looking to cast like 300 Asians as monks to be in this monastery scene. And I was like, man. So I got with my friends. I was like, guys, I don't know if I'm down to do this. But they're like, yo, wouldn't that be the ultimate thing to tell a girl, hey man, I was in Ace Ventura hanging with Jim Carrey. I was in a movie. There we go. I was like, yeah, that would be a cool thing to throw at some girls. And so, all that kind of coaxing then was like, all right, let's do it. And so essentially, I was playing in a fast Filipino basketball league at the time. So I essentially got my whole team, got a bunch of other teams, and boom, we were in there and we filmed Ace Ventura 2 When Nature Calls. And what was funny is like during the weekends after we were done filming, when we'd have these matches, it would be monks versus monks because we all had bald heads. It was insane, but it was one of the coolest things ever. But just that experience working with Jim Carrey, working with Ian McNeice, who I think was the British kind of right-hand man to Ace Ventura, to Jim Carrey's character in When Nature Calls. Sure. I met him. Our head monk was Arsenio Trinidad, who was previously in some of the Karate Kid films. And actually he was in notable for being the monk at the top of this mountain that Michael Jordan is running up in one of his first Gatorade commercials. Okay. Gives Michael the Gatorade. And come to find out he was Filipino. And when we found that out, we had like a whole Filipino connection, and it was amazing to talk to this elder actor who's done everything. And yeah, it was like the acting bug hit. Just to, work maybe 5 minutes, altogether, the scene was probably like 5 minutes, but it'd be a whole day event on a set, which I'm sure, as an actor as well, you do all this for setup and you get in costume. Oh yeah. But just to be amongst friends and hanging out and meeting these actors, and Jim Carrey was such like the coolest cat ever at that time. It was just beautiful, man. And that just kind of led to just wanting to get more into this business and acting. Good stuff. And yeah, it just kind of grew from there. But that was like when the acting bug hit. And that's awesome. Sparked everything.
Sounds good. Well, obviously you kept going and you stayed in the business, and eventually that evolved into you being an online creator. And that's basically your main thing for right now. And it's what you've been doing for a while now. You've been definitely one of the people I've looked to that have, I could say, you kind of inspired me, to get into this, because I've always said like a dream gig for me would to be like a talk show host, because I love talking to people and hearing people's stories. So while we lean into that, I see that You have a few channels, so we're going to give you a chance to talk about them. And we're going to be reviewing the Nerds Rule the World, Nerds of Color, and Nerds of Color presents Sho Pow Sho, if I'm not mistaken. So
Yes.
take it away, my friend.
All right. So where to start? NRW was the first that I kind of kicked off. So coming out of them, so Ace Ventura 2, the acting bug hit when I was in high school. Then I went into the military. Military wasn't it for me. I only did about 4 years worth of military. But I wanted to pursue my passions because I had scholarships for my writing and my music. And so 4 years was just enough for me. I wanted to, get back into creative energy and live in that life. And so did my 4 years, got out, ended up in the DC area because my wife was from this area. Well, I met her in my last year of the military.
All right.
We met through our combined passions for film and acting. She was an actress at the time doing a lot of theater. She, when she graduated, was moved out to LA, but then when she got into the business, she found herself in, unfortunately, a casting couch situation. And that scared her to death. And so she decided to leave LA, come back to the DC area. And she eventually found a new passion in nonprofit and doing events and charities for military families. And so that's kind of like, what she does. But so yeah, I was initially going to move out to LA and pursue film there. But yeah, when I got out the military, she was here now. I decided, let me find my way into the arts in this area, since we weren't going to be in LA. And in order to do that, though, you still have to put food on the table. Still kind of hung around with the government in doing intel work. I can't talk too much into that because it's government, but intel side of things.
Yeah, it's all good.
But then through being in the intel business and having a security clearance and also being an actor, found an uncanny way of finding myself into what we call industrials in the business, where say you have an intelligence agency or you have Homeland Security, they need to do training films to teach their real people, their people, how to do certain functions. And so because I had a clearance and because I was a writer and because I was an actor, I was able to kind of do it threefold. I was able to write to the degree that they were looking for to teach, and then also was able to act in them, and then also seek out other actors that I knew locally in the area. And so that's kind of how I applied my training as a producer. And along with working in the intel industry, but that kind of got me into filmmaking again, and
there you go,
taking on clients within that realm and finding work within the area. And for a lot of people that go for security clearances now, you'll see me in a lot of those videos, which is funny and is something I get all the time by living in this area. Hey, weren't you in that training video? Or I shot you in this one video game video.
Yeah.
What? And I learned Arabic because of you. It's insane and it's beautiful and it's amazing. But that's kind of how I found my way to fill that id of creativity. And outside of that, because I still wanted to do stuff to, you're kind of in a pigeon, you're in a hole with, you're kind of boxed in by just doing military stuff that the rest of the world can't see. I got with various talent managers here locally in the DC area, started working on The Wire. I was in the whole last season of The Wire, and along with some previous seasons, doing background and some other 5 and 9s, roles. Joined AFTRA, the American Federation of Television and Radio Artists. Was involved with America's Most Wanted for 7 seasons.
Oh my goodness.
So built a relationship with John Walsh and everybody involved with that. I eventually then joined Screen Actors Guild. So I was part of SAG-AFTRA before it became the combined SAG-AFTRA. So yeah, just got back into acting, and through that, also at the same time, I was always a comics head, which you can see.
Of course,
me. I got into writing and publishing comic books, managing talent at Marvel and DC and Dark Horse. And because I was writing and producing my own comic books, and then finding these talents, and they needed management, so I started managing them. And several of my properties got picked up for option deals, and that then led me back into the producing side of things again, with wanting to kind of control my property that I created, that I had these deals. all that just to say that as this was all occurring,
it's all good. No. Yeah.
YouTube was kicking off.
Uh-huh.
I had friends at Diamond, and if you know Diamond, they're the ones that run the market in regards to getting it out to the distribution. Diamond is the distribution core for it to getting to various comic book shops, bookstores, and all of that. So I had a relationship with Diamond, and with YouTube kicking off, I was trying to sell them on an idea to talk about the new releases as they would come out. Right. So NRW started as a YouTube planned show to work with Diamond to just, hey, let's, talk about the latest releases and put out a video on YouTube to talk about it. I presented that idea to the family over at Diamond. They dug it, but they didn't see it. So all right. It went nowhere. But eventually, it's funny now because Previews World exists, and I have all the friends over there at Previews World. I've been guests on. Out to my girl Anna Mia, who's now a regular host over at Previews World. And so they're killing it. But yeah, I had this lofty idea way back when. They didn't see it, but eventually they kind of saw it for themselves. And so now they're doing it. But yeah, so they didn't see it. But after a while, I was like, you know what? I saw it. And I got a couple of comic book shops locally to finance me and support me and produce the content. So I was doing these kind of new release conversations at these local comic book shops in the DC area. And then one thing led to another, where then I got to interviewing creators, going to conventions, and meeting amazing folks like you, Anderson. And yeah, so that was like the birth of NRW. And then it just led to, unboxings, reviews, what we now see of YouTube. But I was in there dreaming and plotting this stuff out there before it really became a thing. I'm not going to get the credit for it, but I already had these in the schemes in the masterwork plan. That's good. Way back when, as it was kicking off, man.
Good stuff. Good stuff. I love that. That's great. No, that's all valuable information. I appreciate that. If you could, so that's how you got into doing the online creator stuff. If you could just give me a nice quick hit about what each channel does, and that way we can plug them, and I'll put some, I'll put some handles up so the folks can take a look at it.
Okay, no worries. So as I was doing NRW, as a person of color, one of the things I admired, and I met some other local Asian creators of color. I met this guy by the name of Keith Chow, who ran the Nerds of Color. All right. Seeing that their mission was to showcase us and our representation within the pop culture sphere, I became part of the Nerds of Color crew. There we go. And started interviewing people with them and just kind of shining that light. One of the things I'm very proud of that we did was the Rally for Rose campaign for Rose Tico. AKA Kelly Marie Tran from Star Wars. Yeah. When she was catching a lot of flack for her portrayal, and just because of, hey, why do we have an Asian in Star Wars type of stuff? We're like, F that. We're going to support her. And at San Diego Comic-Con, we did Rally for Roses. Awesome. And brought out a bunch of Star Wars cosplayers, Rico cosplayers, and Rose Tico cosplayers, and just, it was amazing. And we were covered by Variety, just Wonderful. All the outlets. If you look up Rally for Rose online on YouTube or Google or whatever, you'll see pictures of me and just leading these marchers rallying for Rose. It's just such a beautiful thing. Esquire covered us, just so like all the outlets, and Kelly Marie even saw everything that we were doing, because it was just all about representation. That's right, because it matters in every way. So that's the Nerds of Color. Like it. I know you said to hurry up. I can talk, okay. Man, so I apologize.
It's all good. We're here, baby.
Last year, so when this whole world collapse occurred, last year,
the thing,
the thing, I was kind of like really coming into myself at that time when the pandemic was when everything was happening, and I was focusing on family and friends, because to me that was the most important thing. Is my family and my friends. And I was getting real depressed. So as that was happening, which a lot of, I wasn't alone, everybody else was in the world. Right. But I, encapsulated myself because I wanted to protect myself and my family. And I was getting a lot of offers to do interviews because I've built a reputation. People know who I am now with all the work I've done with NRW and acting and everything like that. Yeah. I was telling people no, because I wasn't feeling it, And after a while, a good friend of mine, shout out to my boy Loy Lee, the Asian king of comedy is what he likes to go by.
All right.
LoyLeeComedy.com. So there's a quick plug from my boy Loy Lee.
Good stuff.
He was hitting me up saying, man, Patrick, what's going on? You haven't put out any content. What's going on? Is everything okay? Because, you know, when your real ride or die friends see that you're not doing what you normally do, they hit you up, or they should. And so he hit me up and was like, hey, Patrick, why don't we do a little something, man? Because, you know, you're not doing anything. And if you keep saying no, they're not going to start calling. They're going to stop calling you as well. You know, because I was rejecting and telling no to a lot of my film friends and a lot of these PR companies. And he was 100% right. If you start to really say no to these agencies and all these firms, they're not going to call you anymore. So I was like, all right, let me do something. And then he was like, let's do some podcasts. Let's just start talking about stuff. We started doing that. And then as we were doing it, I was like, you know what? We're in the apocalypse. If we're all gonna die, if there's one thing I want to do, I want to do something for my people.
That's right.
And I'm a very proud Asian. I'm a very proud Filipino. And as a father of a daughter who's of mixed heritage, my wife is Black and I'm Filipino. She gets a lot of the Black love and support from our family, which I love. She's totally Black girl magic. And one of the things I saw that was lacking is although I'm super prideful in my Filipino self, she wasn't getting a lot of that information. So I was like, let me do a show that could highlight that. And then also I was on the phone with my girl, Tina Michelle, shout out to Viva Valentina. And
I know
Kat
her too.
Stevens, you know both of them. And
good,
I was on the phone with Kat Stevens, aka Cataphoric. Both of them, when we would get together at, you know, a convention and shows, we're all very proud Filipinos. But for the two of them, they weren't very knowledgeable about their Filipino sides as well, because they grew up very much so in a white, you know, families and white culture. So they didn't know too much about that. I had a little bit of edge on them because my mother had us in organizations and stuff like that growing up. But at the same time, I wanted to explore that more. And then again, with me wanting to give that knowledge to my daughter, I was like, you know what? Again, it was like the perfect storm of things. My boy pushing me, wanting to do something for the culture, having Kat and Tina saying they didn't know much. I was like, all right, we're going to do the Sho Pow Sho. And I'm going to do it under my Nerds of Color team, because our focus with the Nerds of Color, again, is POC representation. And I just started off the Sho Pow Sho. I have I knew so many Filipinos in the industry, and it was really just tapping up my book. And yay, we're gonna do this. Edwin San Juan, amazing Filipino comedian, and just from there, just everything just kind of kicked off. And awesome. One thing, if you know Filipinos, we support each other a lot, and so it just kind of like the floodgates opened. And I like it. Now I have talent booked up. I've already recorded the 50th episode. And, you know, I don't have to do much legwork. There's everybody hitting up at the door to just kind of tell their stories. And I'm so honored to tell the stories of my people and hopefully, you know, build out the culture and get more of that representation into the mainstream and into feature films. And I feel personally right now, there's a renaissance happening. And I've jumped back into acting just by virtue of doing the Sho Pow Sho. I'm in a Filipino actors group. We did a live Zoom performance recently. We're working on a feature film adaptation of that live Zoom. I have so many relationships with all these filmmakers and producers that are killing it in the game right now. And there's so many projects now in the works that I'm just honored and humbled and just ready to just give my all, because everybody is giving it back and forth. And I'm ready to do it, man, and just inspire the next generation. So people don't have to seek out for it. It's there, you know, and I like it. We can all live and, you know, just get that energy. So important.
As a fellow mixed Asian, I want to tell you, thank you. You know, thank you for doing what you do. I appreciate that. And to be honest with you, there were other people that touched on Asian. I mean, there's one, like, Asian heritage is one thing. Well, mixed Asian heritage is its own thing altogether. And you were the first person, honestly, in my feed that I saw touching on mixed Asian heritage. And it's not just one part Asian, it's all different parts Asian, you know? And so thank you for that. You know, you do a lot of Asian activism.
And we are brothers.
You know, the motherland, you know what I'm saying? It's all good. And I did need to fanboy a little bit with all the film stuff. We're both movie buffs, film buffs, you know. My dude, I could go to the movie theater and sit there all day. You know,
Oh
I
yeah.
love movies. I love film, you know.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
I would love to touch on all the people you've got to interview, but the number one that had me jealous and flipping out, you know who I'm going to talk about? The boss, Zack Snyder. Like,
Oh,
when you
okay.
got to, yeah, like I saw you interview the Army of the Dead cast, which was awesome.
Yeah.
But just getting to interview Zack Snyder, man, my dude, I was just watching you going, he's doing it. This is so awesome.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, man.
Yeah,
I'm honored. I've been very lucky. I've been very
that's
fortunate
great.
to build relationships with Netflix, with Warner Media,
Yeah,
which houses HBO and Warner Brothers Pictures and all of that, and other Lionsgate and Disney.
awesome.
Just I've been blessed, and I've
I
made the
love
right
it.
connections, and it's all about doing quality work. And when they see the work, then they'll keep
It's
continuing calling you and
awesome.
reaching out to you. And yeah, man, thank you. Zach was amazing.
Oh my
Uh,
goodness.
there's some other projects that he has coming out that I'm looking forward to. There's stuff I can't talk about,
Yep, yep.
but dude, if there's any way that I can help you, just continue to build your platform and just
Appreciate it.
making those relationships. And that's what's really it is all
Yeah,
about at the end of the day, man.
yeah,
We can all do it. You can talk to Zack Snyder tomorrow. It's not that hard. It's
yeah.
just doing the work,
Right.
putting in the effort, and showing your true self. And they
I
will
like
respect
it.
that, and they'll love that. And
Well,
that's what I did, and that's how I got that opportunity.
in the spirit of putting things out in the universe, I do have two dream interviews that I've had since I was a teenager. You know, it was just meeting them, but now it's like I want to interview them. I guess I could call her my favorite actor of all time. She inspired me to become an actor, and her name's Catherine Zeta-Jones. And
Okay.
she hasn't done too much in the mainstream, but she does a lot of online stuff. She's done a lot of theater over the years, and also just as far as the mental health community goes, I would just love to talk to her about so many different things. So
Yeah.
that's the one. And then, of course, my favorite filmmaker of all time is Christopher Nolan. He's the other one. So
Okay.
just going to put it out there in the universe,
There we
and
go.
we'll see what happens.
Let's make that happen, world. Let's make that happen.
Let's
All the
go.
love.
Let's go. And thank you for that. I look forward to just, you know, this is the first time we've spoken in at least 3 or 4 years, you know, and
That's crazy.
but I look forward to continuing this and just learning from you, my dude. And you know, I appreciate that. I appreciate that. We touched on a few things, and we want to keep things positive, keep things going here. I'm a mental health advocate, and I firmly believe that there are people in this country that have, you know, they become negatively affected due to being a marginalized group. And you know, we're a part of that. You know, minorities, you know, we have minorities, we have people of color, we have women, we have the queer community, the list goes on, marginalized groups. Unfortunately, you know, we have things that we're going up against that can negatively affect our mental health. So as a mental health advocate, I feel like it's so important. Patrick, what do you do to promote positive mental health in your life?
Oh man, that's a great question. But I definitely try to be a positive spirit. Right. For me, I've been through it all in a lot of different ways. Like I said, I went into the military. One of the stories I'm not ashamed to tell because I think it's important, and to me changed my life. When I was in the military, I was deployed to the Gulf, and quick story is I had learned that my girlfriend at the time was now with my friend. Also at that time, I learned that a good friend had fell asleep at the wheel and died in a tragic accident. So just the compiling of death of a friend, my girlfriend being in the Persian Gulf. Feeling like I had all this potential wasted because I had scholarships for my writing and my music, like I said earlier, but I decided to go the military route. Just all compounded. And I found myself lonely and sad. And I pulled out a switchblade when I was out on a flight deck doing my security watch detail. And I almost, you know, just cut my wrist and decided, and was almost going to do it. But instead, I took that switchblade, I threw it into the water, and then reported myself to the officer on duty. And they put a watch on me. And I had to, talk to the chaplain and to the doctors and all that, and go through everything that when you almost do an act like that. But it was at that moment though, that reaching that low point in your life that changes you. And So and that's what I continue to draw strength and inspiration from.
Yeah.
And so when I got back, I had to go to therapy. I had to go to the hospital, because military has all these kind of protocols that you had to go through. Sure. So, it's just moments like that. And it just ever since then, I think therapy is a great thing, because there's a lot of people that feel ashamed that when they have to go to therapy or get assigned to do that. No, I think it's very important. Mental health, self-care is so important. My wife and I, we go get massages all the time. And actually there's a point, I'll be honest right now here as well, that, 3 to 4 years into our marriage, we were trying to have a child, and it didn't happen. And so, we were both getting depressed. And so we got couples therapy. Then we eventually, had our wonderful child, Madison. But, just everything that you do to take care of yourselves is so important. And being amongst friends and sharing, bearing your true self, and not worrying about any consequences, because we all want to put a facade and a gilded representation of ourselves to people, because we think that that's what matters, when it doesn't.
Right.
Just be who you are.
Right.
And that's all that really matters at the end of the day. And so I've always appreciated you, Anderson. You've always came with your true self with me, and I've always came with my true self to you. Yeah. And that's what, I think is the best thing for all of us in the world. And I think I went a long ways to answer your question, but it's
okay. No, I appreciate
your true
that.
self, and not being afraid to go to therapy, and just drawing inspiration and learning from the history of your own life. And like I said, for me, whenever I feel down, I think about that moment when I almost ended it all. Right. And I draw strength from that. And I'm like, no way, I'm not at that point. So let's keep on going. Let's keep building. Let me go to somebody. Let me talk to somebody.
Okay.
Call a friend, have a conversation, and
there we go.
Work things out. Because that's what's important. There's so many important things in this world, and I have so many important people to live for in my family, and amazing friends like yourself, dude.
Love it. It's amazing. Thank you. And I didn't expect to hear that, but thank you so much for sharing your mental health story. We all have one. We all have one.
Exactly. So important.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. So let's switch it up a little bit here. We talked about movies a few times, going to talk about them again.
Yeah.
It's a nice, fun conversation I like to have with folks. Patrick, I am giving you the ability to rent out the movie theater, and you get to watch your favorite movie on the big screen. In addition to that, you get to eat whatever you want to eat. What are you watching, and what are you eating, my friend?
I love you and I hate you for this question, because it's such a great question.
It is.
And I've been brainstorming this ever since we kind of started, but right before this.
Yeah.
Wow. I have a top 10 that changes often.
Sure.
But then it's always still there. I don't know what I would be my number one film that I would want to see in the theater again. I would go between Star Wars and Indiana Jones in a way, but then there's also Goonies. I was having a conversation the other day with an interview that I was recording with how amazing Goonies was. Also the Back to the Futures. I'm an 80s baby. So
there we go. Okay.
Being an 80s baby, Star Wars, Indiana Jones films, Back to the Futures, those are all in my top 10, along with Love Jones, which is kind of a 90s film, but it helped provoke my love for poetry and spoken word.
There we go.
And the power of the word. Man, there's so many amazing films. There's also all the superhero films, all the Marvel films. I can't put one over the other. So I'm just gonna throw out, here's a weird one.
Okay.
Although it's probably difficult because it's a very adult film, but I love the original Sin City.
Okay.
Because I don't hear too many people saying it, so I'm gonna just give it some love. What Robert Rodriguez did, with Frank Miller, to adapt Frank Miller's Sin City, with him capturing like every panel and movement of the camera as a filmmaker, from a filmmaker standpoint to a comic fan standpoint, he did that. And if you're a fan of the Sin City comic book series, I think it's fascinating. And if you're a fan of noir, killed it. So because I don't hear too many people say that, I'm gonna give Sin City some love. So would be the film. Although again, you can't watch it with too many people. So I like to usually choose a film that everybody could see, but Sin City for my comic fans and my filmmaker fans. Right, I'm gonna say that. So
maybe not necessarily your favorite movie of all time, but that's the movie you're picking to watch in the movie theater. There we go.
Yeah, because it would be amazing to see it on the big screen.
I like that. Again. I like that. Okay, well, guess what? You're watching Sin City. Got to get that grub on, my dude. What are we eating?
So because I do the Sho Pow Sho, everybody's gonna be like, "Are you gonna choose a Filipino food?"
Right.
And everybody would say lumpia or pancit.
Right.
I love lumpia pancit, but I kind of OD'd on that growing up, so I eat it every now and then. Sho Pow Sho is based off of the term, well, the food Sho Pow. I like Sho Pow, but in moderation, so I won't say Sho Pow.
Okay.
What I will say is something very basic and simple. Well, actually, no, I'm not even going to give that, because we're at a movie theater. You can't exactly eat those kind of dishes either in a movie theater.
It's okay.
So I'm just going to say something that I love to eat at a movie theater. Popcorn. I'm just going to go some popcorn. Because it's the perfect. I think popcorn, whoever came up with, if you're at a movie theater, you don't want to get too, although I still don't like the buttery feelings in my hands.
So let's change it up. I'm not letting you get away with that. I'm not letting you get away. So we have theaters now that have the nice table.
That is true. I'm a big Alamo Drafthouse fan. Shout out to
Alamo Drafthouse. So you get to have a meal. You get to have a meal, my dude. It's this Patrick's movie theater. He gets to have a nice meal. So what are we having, my dude?
Man, you're killing me. You're killing me.
Yeah.
All right. Well, okay. To my Filipino roots, very basic. A staple meal growing up. It doesn't matter, breakfast, lunch, or dinner. Just some regular white rice and some tocino, which is a sweet and sour pork.
There we go. I like that.
So there you go.
I'm a big foodie, so I love hearing people talk about food. There we go. Go. Sin City with some, what was that again?
Tocino and rice.
Tocino and rice. I like that.
And dude, if you ever come back down to the DC area, there's a bunch of Filipino spots I'd love to take you out at, and you can enjoy some amazing
we will
Filipino food.
Absolutely be talking a little bit after the interview's over with, so we can talk about that. Patrick, before we go, you've shared so much today, and I really appreciate that. You're doing so much. I encourage people to pursue their dreams, and you've done that. You've done that over the years, and you're continuing to do it. It's just such a pleasure to know somebody like you that's doing so many different things. What advice could you give somebody that wanted to pursue something as grand as what you're doing? And, even if they're younger, if they're older, what advice would you give an up and comer?
Great question. And really, at the end of the day, believe in yourself. No one else is going to do it for you. You have to know that you can do it and that you can accomplish anything you set your heart to. I wanted to become a filmmaker and actor. I learned about the business. You know what I'm saying? I
like it.
At the time, we didn't have fast internet, so we had dial-up. I would go on America Online and I would search everything I could find out about the film industry. I would hit up the library and find out everything about the film world, learned about the different acting techniques, studied acting, studied the favorite films of the people that I admired, and just learned everything about it. When I was working background, a lot of people disrespect people that work background on big budget projects, but to me, it was an amazing place to learn how sets work, learning what, your team A and team B, and just going in and out, knowing your marks, and just seeing how everything functioned and flowed. So it's just, to me, believing in yourself and knowing if you want to do it, you just have to do it. And because no one's going to give it to you, and just reach out for it, work hard, study.
Sure.
But the only person that can make you do that is yourself.
I like it.
At the end of the day, it starts with you.
Appreciate that. Patrick, thank you so much for joining me today. I'm sure the viewers will enjoy this. I look forward to continuing this.
Same, brother. Same. Can't wait to see you, man.
Let's change the world.
Hell yeah. Let's do it.